2, 1.
This is Sean Payton, head coach of the New Orleans Saints. What's with this Saints happy cast? This has to be the worst Saints podcast in the world. Ralph can't say anyone's name right. Andrew doesn't know football. Everyone has a hard time listening to Dave. And is Kevin even there tonight? The audio with this podcast, my God, the audio, it's painful.
All right, everybody, welcome to a one-day delayed Saints Happy Hour podcast. Big show. The Saints made us all want to throw up on Sunday, and I actually did it all night long. Yesterday, one of the worst experiences of my life. I had the stomach flu that my kid had, and on top of it, I had vertigo. I blacked out on the toilet, and my wife found me on the floor. How was your Monday?
Naked.
So it was just pitiful, but we're rolling on. We're here. We're a day late. The Saints, of course, lost to Philadelphia, and I gotta say, I want to start with this because Sean Payton, he does his little conference calls, and a lot of times coaches will be like, "Oh, I'm watching the film" during the conference call, and they're just lying. Sean Payton was so pissed off during that 6.5-minute phone call on Monday. I'm going to play you this. On Twitter, people probably saw that Sean Payton criticized Peat and he needs to play better. But I'm going to play you the soundbite where Sean Payton talked about it. He wasn't even asked about Peat. Nick Underhill asked him a softball question about the offensive line in general, and Sean Payton just went off.
Sean, on the offensive line, is there anything that you guys could have done different, or is that just the type of game where you kind of got to win your one-on-one stuff there to send him forward?
Listen, Pete's got to play better. He's got to play better. I don't think any one of them played particularly great, but we'll keep working here.
I mean, Andrew, I don't remember Sean Payton besides Charles Brown when he said I'd seen enough. Like, that's just like brutal by Sean Payton, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely singled him out, and it's one of those things where I think I said this on the Grades podcast, but Ralph, Saints fans hate on Andrus Peat. I almost called him Andrus Peat. I think it's Andrus. But anyway, Saints fans hate him, and I feel like I'm always reading on Twitter, he's the worst, cut him, trade him for a, six-pack of Heineken, whatever it is. Saints fans hate him, and so I always kind of take it with a grain of salt when because usually when you go back and watch the tape, yes, there's like two awful plays, but he really isn't that bad in the games other than like two plays that stand out. So usually I kind of come to his defense, or I kind of take it with a grain of salt. Watching the game tape this time, there's nowhere to hide for Andrus Peat. Whatever. It was awful, especially in the first half. It was as bad as I've ever seen him play.
I mean, you called it out on Discord, while it was happening. You didn't even need to watch the tape to notice how bad it was.
Me and Kevin could be like, dude, he's fucking terrible today.
Yeah.
But that
Stevie Wonder saw how bad he was.
And we talked.
And he has about the same vision as I do. In terms of watching the games.
Dave, and that was the thing that was most like before the stomach flu hit me, and I wished I was dead. But Sunday night after the game, and when as I was thinking about it, the thing that was most upsetting and depressing to me is, it would have been one thing if they lose to the 3-8-1 Eagles and they turn the ball over 4 times and the Eagles block a punt or run a kickoff back or some weird shit like that, right? And then you're like, well, just weird stuff happened, and they lost. Like, the Eagles just thumped them on both sides of the line. Like, they ran for 250 yards, and their defensive line kicked the Saints' ass. Like, that was what was most disturbing about the Eagles. Not that, losing to a 3-8-1 team is bad enough, but losing the way they did almost made it worse. If that's hard to believe.
I mean, like, first of all, you know, losing that game now, Packers are, they've got the number one spot. They sort of control their own destiny now.
Yeah.
And the Saints, the
It's
Saints,
it's not sort of.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Saints, they lost that privilege to control their own destiny, losing to the Eagles. I, you know, I, I didn't think 14-2 would be the best record ever in Saints history. They've never done better than 13-3. I was going for 14-2. I really wanted to see them finish 14-2, but I didn't really think that was realistic. 13-3 is probably more like it. I was thinking, like most people, I would say I was thinking they were going to lose this weekend against the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's okay. That's the game you'd rather lose. It's an AFC opponent. Losing to the Eagles is worse because it's an NFC opponent. Obviously, they were 8, 9, 9.5 point favorites or whatever. I think it's a mixture of one, maybe being a little too overconfident. Having a quarterback come in who's never started a game before, and maybe thinking this is going to be easy. I think it's the second part of it is not really having a lot of tape. Not really knowing exactly what to expect, how the Eagles are going to use them. Number 3 is you just come out flat. You don't play as well as you can play, and so it's a mixture of factors. But I can't say I'm surprised. You don't know what the Eagles are going to do moving forward. Like, who knows? Maybe Jalen Hurts is the real deal.
No, he's not.
And maybe the Eagles wind up going on a tear and winning. What's going to wind up happening is the Eagles are going to be 7-8-1, and the Redskins are going to be 7-9, and the Eagles are going to win the division thanks to that tie. They are going to win the division.
It's not going to happen
because of a tie. You don't think so? Who's going to win that division?
I think Hurts is a total flash in the pan for one game, and I think clearly Dennis Allen needs some tips from Dave Aranda of LSU, because as my dad points out in the chat, LSU was up 49-7 last year on Jalen Hurts at halftime.
That's true.
So if LSU knows how to stop Jalen Hurts, I'd like to think the number one defense in the NFL could. Thing is, he didn't really have a lot of help. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey had one nice catch there, and he had a nice run from Miles Sanders, but otherwise it was really just Jalen Hurts doing it on his own. So, look, this was an embarrassment. It really was. And look, Saints are 10-3. I'm good. There's still tons to play for, but when you just look at how they executed this game, I don't see how you don't paint this any other way than it was embarrassing.
Well, no,
I mean, we before this game on the last podcast, we all made our predictions. We didn't know at the time we recorded. We didn't know who was going to be the starting quarterback, and I think we were all in agreement. We would have much preferred Carson Wentz because we knew how good he was, or
he's trash.
I'm sorry, actually, we knew how bad he was. And I said it. The thing with Jalen Hurts is you don't know. You have no idea. It's the element of surprise, and you have no idea what you're going to get. You have no idea what to expect. And
we got exactly what we expected.
I don't buy that.
We got exactly what we expected.
I don't buy that at all.
He would run.
Doug Peterson literally said before the game, they're like, how are you going to help mitigate having a rookie quarterback against the number one defense in the NFL? Direct quote, we're going to run the ball. We're going to commit to it. We're going to find a way to run as much as possible to keep their offense off the field. He said exactly that. And if you go back and watch Jalen Hurts at Alabama or watch Jalen Hurts' tape at Oklahoma, he was doing all the same shit he did his entire college career.
Kevin, if Teddy Bridgewater beats Aaron Rodgers on Saturday night, does he get automatic induction into the Saints Hall of Fame?
He moves into the Jake Del Home, we should have hung on to that guy ring. If he gets that for the time being. He can retroactively get put in the Hall of Fame later. Yeah. If he somehow, do they have to play Tom Brady again?
No, I think they do. I think Carolina does. If he could beat Tom Brady, but I'm just worried about the Packers. Is all my thing. But
but he can move into the Jake Delhomme Hall of Very Good.
Oh, very good. But Dave, you talked about how the Saints, they didn't know what to expect, but I feel like Sean Payton in that press conference on Monday, like he was surly and he's making jokes that we usually make on the podcast.
Man, we looked flat. We didn't look ready to play, and that's a reflection on me, and it's upsetting. And so I've got to do a better job of making sure I don't think we played well in any phase. I'm watching it again right now. Offensively, it's sloppy. Screens, the nakeds, the run game, it looks awful. And defensively, they're still running.
He's making the jokes that we make, Dave. About
right. I couldn't. I was waiting for the breaking news siren. I was waiting for the breaking news sound to come in, saying, "Up, guys! Hey, Nick Underhill, breaking news: Jalen Hurts just ran for another 20 yards."
The only thing that was missing was for him to go, that game was pretty saintsy.
Yeah.
It was.
Or to pronounce. He could have said, "I thought Taysom Hill played really well."
They may want to consider playing Tomas.
Well, we got to get to Tomas. Sorry, Tomas. I know we were supposed to get you all the stuff. We didn't do the show, but we got an announcement. We hired the content assistant content producer. It's Tomas. He's from Poland.
Is it Ralph? Isn't it just Thomas?
Well, he says to call. He said when I talked to him yesterday, he just said, "Call me Tom." I guess he probably got me tired of me butchering his name. But
like you realize that they don't speak Hispanic in Poland, right? Like Tomas is like Latino. That's not
maybe.
Just call me Tom. That's like the international. That's the international saying for you're fucking shit up. Just
call me Tom. But he might be Russian, KGB, Secret Service, GRU or whatever. But he's going to be doing stuff for the podcast, audio and stuff. He's excited. We're excited to have him. And we got some stuff from him on the hotline later. Oh, and by the way, the hotline, you people were out of fucking control in the hotline. Like, I understand that the hotline is sometimes it's your therapy, but they had two of you that called like 6, 7, 8 times. Like, I mean, come on.
Maybe
people.
We need to have somebody answering just to talk these people down from the left.
Charge you people $20 an hour for I'll be your Saints therapist.
I know. I think it did need to be a help hotline last Sunday.
I don't want to go too far down the hotline rabbit hole, but my favorite is the guy. He's called a couple of times now. I've noticed. He seems to not really have any plan when he calls. He just kind of calls and he just starts talking, and like he doesn't even really know where it's gonna go. And it
goes into weird places. It goes weird. Sometimes I feel like I just want to meet him and give him a hug.
I mean, it's almost like he's surprised somebody even answers.
But listen, Andrew, the thing that was of all the technical tape watching stuff from Sunday, that was the most fucking annoying to me was they knew
I want you guys to engrave on my tombstone. He created the hotline. It was his idea.
Yeah.
Created hotline. ... Smelled like nougat.
Smelled like nougat. Not that he married, had kids,
you,
had a good job. No, the pinnacle of his existence is he created the hotline.
Yeah, whatever my wife wants to put in there, don't listen to her.
My wife.
Yeah. He's remembered by his loving family, Latavius. He's survived by his adopted son,
Lil Jordan, Malcolm Roach, and Latavius Murray. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying that. No, I was saying that the hotline is great. The thing that was so great about the hotline on Sunday was they had usually it takes about like third quarter, different people will start calling and being angry. The Eagles games, I saw calls like 3:47. People were just spitting bile at the hotline. They were not happy. But But the thing I was going to say is, back to Andrew's point of we knew exactly what the Eagles were going to do, and the thing that's so frustrating is they played Cam Newton damn near for a decade. And what do you do when you play Cam Newton? You rush him kind of slow. You don't let him get outside the pocket. You make him stay in the pocket. And the Saints were they were freaking terrible at it. And Sean Payton, he was as confused about it as we were.
The thing, the more upsetting element, there were some times with a 5-man rush we were rushing to contain, and we didn't do that effectively. And so that should be easier to do when you're rushing 5, is to keep the quarterback where you want him. And we didn't do a good enough job of that. So obviously we didn't get enough good work at it.
I mean, so Kevin, that sounds like they didn't practice it enough during the week. Like what the hell, man? Like if you don't know what the hell's going on, it's just, I don't know. It just that drove me batty. That like Jalen Hurts, he just.
Well, I mean, right, but it's the top. What makes it more astounding is that this is the top defense in the league. I mean, I still can't believe I'm saying that about the fucking Saints, but it's like you reach this mountaintop of being the top defense in the league, and then you proceed to give up two separate 100-yard rushing performances against a team sub 500, not just below 500, sub 500.
They were on their way to a top 5 pick, and that's the thing
they have the tie. Don't forget the tie.
Well, Dave, that was the thing that was so like if this was the 2015 Saints or the 2016 Saints. You'd be like, well, of course the Eagles ran for 250 yards because the Saints defense is the miracle cure for any offense. Like, of course they did that. But like Kevin said, they were their number 1 defense in the NFL by like any objective measure you want to use. You want to use yards, you want to use stat nerds analytics, they were number 1 by all of it. And they just got run the fuck over.
And honestly, if Lattimore played a terrible game and got roasted, or Marcus Williams made a mistake and slipped in coverage, Janoris Jenkins, or, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson got super handsy and got a bunch of interference penalties, all of that would have been believable. It's the fact that they got gashed for 250 yards on the ground. Like, that's the one thing we've been able to hang our hat on the last few seasons, is that they stopped the run.
I think I'm partially to blame, though, because I went on an Eagles podcast with Kyle Bennett, and I was like, listen, they're like, we're going to try to run the ball. We're going to protect you. I'm like, there's no fucking way y'all are running the ball on the Saints. Like, nobody's done it in 4 years. Y'all aren't running the ball on the Saints. Like, okay, if I'm sure of one thing in life, I'm sure that you're not going to run the ball on the Saints. So it might be my fault.
So what are we blaming this on? Poor game planning, just a poor performance all around from the players on the field, or maybe underestimating. I guess that kind of falls into both, but underestimating the opponent.
We underestimated the 3-8-1 football
I think it's a little bit of all of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of all of it, but this is not. You can't point the finger. Look, Will Lutz misses a couple kicks. Taysom Hill doesn't protect the football. 4th down play, Lattimore has a 1-on-1 coverage. He gets beat for a touchdown. Traquan Smith drops a 3rd down pass. The offensive line gets their head kicked in. It was a total system failure. Well, Sean Payton on 4th down when the Saints are down 17-14. A shot to win the game, calls a shot play instead of just trying to get a 1st down. A play that's worked all season on 3rd and 1. The power draw with Taysom Hill gets stuffed and they have to punt. So I think like a lot of this was execution. I don't want to put too much on Sean Payton. He takes the blame, but I think this was a system failure by the players mostly. I just think they completely failed to execute.
Well, and so I want to go back to
Hendrick. Let me just one other guy. I want to put one other skin on the wall. Hendrickson, more interested in getting sacks and crashing than holding his containment against a quarterback that's clearly very dangerous if he can get it over, onto the edge. And he just wants to go for the sack. Like,
to be
it's
fair,
bad
though,
discipline.
his sacks are going to get him millions.
I agree with that.
But here's the thing. Taysom's fumbling is like the audio from this podcast in 2016. It's a problem every fucking week. Like...
Well, I saw somebody just tweeted or put on Discord the stat of the most fumbles per season. Aaron Brooks was at the top. I don't remember what year. Aaron
14,
Brooks had
yeah.
Aaron Brooks had the 2 top spots. And right now, Taysom.
Did you see Aaron Brooks had like 5 of the top 7 or some shit?
Yeah.
But like right now, Taysom is like in like the 5 spot or whatever. He's tied with 10, and he's tied for actually Drew Brees in 2009, which is actually kind of surprising. But consider the fact that Taysom has only started 4 games, so he's fumbled as many times as he's 4 fumbles shy of breaking the Saints team record of fumbles. And there's still 4 games left in the season, and he's only started 4 games as a starting quarterback. So it's an issue. His fumble.
Bad?
Yeah, it's bad. His fumble wasn't really a big deal in this game because it was on 4th down. The big deal on that play was just his decision making. The fact that he doesn't just drop back 3 steps and get rid of it immediately. The fact that he holds on to it, runs, and doesn't feel the pressure, doesn't have any pocket awareness, and he puts himself in a position to be chased down and to have holding the ball out and put him in position to fumble the ball. But the actual fumble, the result of the play really wasn't that big of a deal as far as the game or field position. But the fact that he continues to put himself in a position where he's coughing the ball up. I mean, it's at least once a game, if not twice a game. And the interception was on him too. Yes, it was tipped off of, I guess, Kamara's hands. I don't remember who it was. But and Payton mentioned this. He says this, that screen pass came out hot or whatever. The dump off came off hot. And it's not supposed to come off hot. It's supposed to have touch on it. Just like Drew Brees does, just like I would say most all starting NFL quarterbacks know to do is to, if the guy's 5 feet away from you, you're not throwing it at the same velocity as a guy who's 30 yards downfield.
You got to block people on a screen. Shit, he gets the ball out there, and 2 guys, big old animals, nail his ass. Shit.
But I want to go back. I want to go back to the clock management thing because I don't really feel like we got a real answer. I mean, Payton I listened to the podcast he was on. I think Andrew listened to it also.
Yeah, it was good.
The Hustle and Flow podcast. It was good. He said a lot of the same things on that podcast. At least
they didn't really ask him about the time management, though.
No, but he mentioned it. He said, we got to. I guess he's putting it on himself. I certainly haven't seen him blame anything, and nobody in the post game. Kat Terrell, I don't know what she wound up asking him. I know she admittedly said, "Well, I didn't really phrase it right, or I didn't ask it the right way." But I guess Payton's putting that on himself. But I don't get that. Payton is too good of a coach. He's one of the best coaches in the league. He's one of the longest tenured coaches in the league, and he's great at the 2-minute drill and clock management. I don't understand. I don't understand how this could have been on him. How he could have made this mistake.
You want my theory, Dave?
I mean, it was maddening, Dave. I agree.
He's got to be covering for something.
I have a theory, Dave.
They were snapping the ball with 5 seconds left on the play clock, and when a play would happen, you would see 2 replays of it. And I'm like, they're running the 2-minute offense badly when you're able to see 2 replays of the same play before they go back to the game action. That was driving me crazy.
Kevin, I have a theory, and I think you will be more apt to believe my theory than Dave or Andrew because they know football X's and O's and all that. My theory,
and I'm just nuts.
Yeah, my theory is Sean Payton doesn't trust fucking Taysom to run the 2-minute drill, and that's why he didn't. He doesn't trust him even though he's got his little wristband and all this. Sean Payton didn't trust him to run the 2-minute drill at high speed, and that's why they didn't. Because like Andrew and David, he's too smart to we should have been running the 2-minute. God, how do we forget that? No, he didn't run it because he doesn't trust Taysom to do it. That's my theory.
It's a valid theory. It's a valid fucking theory based on everything we know about Sean Payton as a head coach, and based on what we've seen from with Drew Brees and with Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah, so. Sure, I can believe that. I can absolutely believe that.
And he's not, and Andrew, he's not going to say it in the postgame. He's not going to say, "Oh, I don't trust Taysom to run the 2-minute drill, so we didn't." Like, he's never going to say that in the postgame.
Well, right. I mean, he's not going to toss.
Peat, though.
Well, he's not going to throw the quarterback under the bus. I mean, you'd be an asshole to throw quarterback under the bus.
He'll throw his left guard under the bus, though. That's fine.
Well, his left guard did deserve it.
Pete knows what it's like to be underneath something. He's motherfuckers getting pancake left and right.
He was on the ground a lot in that game.
So that's the thing too, Andrew. We talked about the defensive line and not being able to contain and getting run over for 250 yards. But the offensive line has commenced their normal December. We're playing, but we're playing hurt. You got McCoy with the RoboCop arm. You got Eason going on IR today, probably with the concussion again. Like, is the offensive line going to fall apart for the third consecutive year?
You mean fourth, right?
Well, they didn't fall. Did they fall apart in 2017? I don't feel like.
Yeah, that was the Minnesota Miracle game. They played terrible in that game. The offensive line did.
Well, they played like shit in the first half.
Yeah, true. I just think the interior. I think. Well, is it really an injury thing, or is it just that Peat and Ruiz and Easton have been playing bad? Is it a talent issue maybe this year? So that would be the only thing. But yeah, I mean I don't worry so much about Lutz because I think he's extremely talented. He'll figure it out, and I think he'll be okay. And there were some positives. It was nice to see Jared Cook play well. Michael Thomas looks like he's back, and that was really good to see because eventually Drew Brees will be back. And I'll tell you something, it's a lot harder to block for a quarterback not named Drew Brees. Drew Brees has been making pass protection look really easy for a long time in New Orleans. And he's made a lot of offensive linemen look a lot better than they really are because of how quick he gets the ball out. And I think this has been a rude awakening for the Saints front to realize that blocking for Taysom Hill, who doesn't process as fast.
That's fair. They started Tim Lelito.
It's a rude awakening.
They started Tim Lelito a bunch, and we didn't even think it was a horrible decision.
Yeah, right. But no, the offensive line is a concern. That's the biggest concern on the team right now. But I don't want to lose sight of the fact that look, the Saints are 10-3. They're in first place in the division.
Yeah.
We've seen these clunker games. I mean, I can take you back to 2009 in that home game against the Bucks, where we lost 20-17 to a lowly Bucks team that had nothing to play for. I still don't know how we lost that game. I can take you back to losing a Max Hall and the Cardinals. That's the only game Max Hall ever won in his NFL career. We went 13-3 that year. We lost to the Colt McCoy-led Browns and then made the playoffs. So the Saints have these inexplicable clunker games. It's been part of their history, and I'm willing to chalk it up to that. I'm willing to, again, I just think the crazy thing, guys, is the Saints lost by 3 points, and they played an F or D- level game. If they had played like a C- level game, they probably win by 10.
If they'd had Drew Brees, they'd have won. Because as bad as they were at the end of the game, Drew Brees would have been like, Philadelphia, their entire secondary is injured. I'm going to light them on fire, and we're going to get out of here. It's going to be fine. But
he would have scored much quicker too on that 2-minute drill. Yeah. And promise you that.
Yeah, probably.
Promise you.
Here's the Saints.
There wouldn't have been any time for any replays.
Before we get to a great game that Kevin discovered that we're going to play in a little bit. That's fantastic. Taysom Hill, and I want all of you to answer, but I'll start with you, Dave. I've seen enough of Taysom Hill to know that if the Saints go into 2021, we assume Drew's going to retire. If they go into 2021 and they do not have serious competition for Taysom Hill, I am going to fucking go to airline and protest. Like, they can have Taysom Hill and they can give him a chance to be the quarterback in 2021, but they better draft somebody or sign Winston or something, because Taysom, I'm pretty much convinced he's not going to be a starting NFL quarterback.
So I listened to that podcast that Peyton was on today. I wish I had more time to listen to the whole thing, but I listened to about the first.
That was really good.
Yeah, I'll listen to the rest of it tomorrow when I drive to Baton Rouge. But I listened to the first 10, 15 minutes of it, and
it wasn't as good as our show with Connor, but a close second.
It wasn't.
Well, first of all, I mean, I'm glad to see Peyton branching out and doing podcasts now. That's good. He's doing some starter podcasts and getting warmed up so he can come on our podcast. So that's good news. But you got to build up to get to our level. You get to get to us. But one of the things he said is that he's gone with Taysom once Drew went out because, and this is his words, because of a promise that he made to Taysom before Jameis was even signed. And great. I'm glad that our coach Sean Payton
do you think he gave him a promise ring?
I don't know. Maybe he's a Mormon. He might be into that kind of stuff. But obviously, like it's great that our coach is a man of his word and he tells his players something and he backs it up and he does it. But just to me, that would lead me to believe that Jameis still has a chance. That because he said I made a promise to Taysom. If we got in this situation, it was going to be his chance. It was going to be his turn. But we're always evaluating. We are, he's evaluated every week. And I would like to think that if Taysom does not perform up to the standards and quality that we would want of a starting NFL quarterback of our team, that he would reevaluate and that he would go to somebody else. So to answer your question, Ralph, I think that Taysom and Jameis are both going to be on this team next year.
Ooh.
And I think they are both going to have a chance at being the starting quarterback of this team. And I don't think that the one thing that worries me about Peyton's comments about how he made a promise is I feel like sometimes he's almost loyal to a fault, and he's going to ride this thing even if it comes crashing to the ground, and he won't make the necessary adjustment before it's too late. He'll only make that adjustment after it's too late. And I'm saying this, and in the back of my mind, I have the Saints running game for the last 12 years running through the back of my mind, because I feel like that's Peyton. He's been devoted to Drew Brees and passing the ball, and he's been very slow to come around to the whole running thing. And so I think they're both going to be on the roster next at the start of in training camp next year.
Well, the fact that Jameis Winston isn't playing at all probably helps the Saints resign.
Yeah, he's got no tape. He hasn't done anything great. Yeah. There's no reason for another NFL team this offseason to say, hey, I need that Jameis. I saw how he played, because he hasn't played.
Here's my question though. Taysom, I watched the game and I was like, he was bad, but he wasn't awful. Then I saw Andrew, you said it was kind of worse, and I saw other Saints tape eaters. They were like, oh, this is terrible. So my question to you is, Andrew, how bad or how quick is the hook against Kansas City? Are we getting to that point where Sean Payton's like, look, Taysom, I promised you. I gave you the promise ring. We went on a date. We went to Olive Garden. You got the tour of Italy. And I've committed to you, but now it's done.
The tour of Italy.
So like.
What do you think that promise ring? It's engraved on the inside. What do you think it says on the inside? It's engraved on there.
It says the next Steve Young.
But I mean, do we have a chance that he might get yanked against the Chiefs, Andrew, if he plays kind of like he did against?
So I actually lobbied for Jameis on Twitter. I was saying that they should make the move to Jameis for the second half of the Eagles game. So I was kind of on board to make the switch when the Saints were scoreless at halftime. So I would be up for Jameis. interestingly, and this is just strictly based on matchups, I just don't want the Saints getting into a shootout with the Chiefs. Like when you look at that explosive offense, Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, I just don't think the Saints can get into a shootout with a team like that and win. If Jameis is in the game, that's kind of the game you're trying to play. So specific to this matchup, I actually think Taysom Hill should be the guy. I really think this is a game where you have to control time of possession. You have to pound Latavius Murray. I think this is a good game to get him going. And I think Taysom Hill is a better quarterback to kind of execute that game plan. So, now he's got to hold on to the football. That's the big thing. If he's fumbling, that whole game plan is hijacked. But if he doesn't fumble, then he's the best player to kind of control the clock, pound the ball, and that sort of thing. So, I am on board with Jameis playing. I just think this is the wrong opponent and the wrong game for it. But if they get down a couple scores and Taysom's playing poorly, and you get to a point where you need points fast, then I start to think like maybe Jameis, it's worth throwing him out there to see what he can do.
I would like to see them let Jameis. Jesus Christ! I would like to see them let Taysom just do his thing, and I feel like they're kind of forcing upon him the being a pocket quarterback kind of thing, and I kind of feel like
go full Tebow is what you're saying. Go full
yeah,
Tebow
I
and
mean,
just let him run around and
think,
do
Dan,
Yeah, someone said that I wish the Saints would play Taysom like the Eagles play Hurts.
Yeah, well, no, I
don't think you can get away with that this
dance
week,
with the
though.
Dance with the one who brought you.
I don't think you can.
And I think Taysom got to this point because of his just natural football ability and his instincts and his running and all that kind of stuff. It was never really about his passing. Yes, I think he can pass it. I don't think he's a terrible passer. I think he can hit a deep throw. He needs to work on his touch a little bit, but for the most part, I think he's an okay passer. But I think his strong suit is being like Jalen Hurts or being like Lamar Jackson, is running the football, is being shifty and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like in a way, they're doing what they did with Jason David. They're trying to take a zone cornerback and trying to convert him into
the meanest thing you've ever said about Taysom.
And I feel like right now that's kind of what they're doing with Taysom. They're trying to make Jalen Hurtsy, Lamar Jackson running Tebow kind of quarterback into a Drew Brees, and that's just let him do what he wants to do. See what happens. Let him
run free. Let it happen. Just let it happen. Okay. Before we get to the hotline, which is just ridiculous, and we only have a couple questions. I did a poor job because I had the stomach death flu. I didn't send out the asking for questions soon enough, so we don't have too many questions. But Kevin, I don't know where Kevin found this, but apparently, Kevin, in Scotland, every single snowplow they have, they name the snowplow. So we decided that since they named the snow, since Scotland names their snowplows, we should play some Braveheart music underneath and decide which snowplows correspond to which Saints players. Just to give you an idea of these snowplows names: Britney Spears, License to Chill, Melton John, Gritalica. So mine, that I looked at this list, mine was, I decided Andrus Peat would be Sprinkle Bell because he's terrible and he's always falling over. So, did anybody else, or did we just not prepare for the snowplow names?
Well, I didn't even get the snowplow list until 5 minutes before air because I don't know. Apparently, my cell phone service is terrible. So I'm looking at it now. If you all go, I might be able to come up with something good at the time.
Well, I kind of liked Deontay Harris's Spready Mercury.
The Snow Solution. I think that might be Drew Brees because we hope he's the solution to all the problems when he gets back. But mostly, I just wanted to play the Braveheart music and say,
well, could we call?
Whoa, hot. Whoa, hot.
Could we? Yeah, a little hot there. Could we call CD Deuce Ice Queen?
Ice Destroyer. That feels good for Taysom Hill.
Slippy McGritty. Who would that
We've
be?
We've got Sprinkles on here. Who would be Sprinkles?
Well, we got a Sir Andy Flurry. That could be Andy.
Andy Tanner.
Andy Tanner. Yeah, we got Andy Tanner.
We got Arctic
Sprinkles. Should that be Junior Gillette? Sprinkles.
I like also how there's just Fred. Fred is on this list. All these funny, silly pun names, and then there's Fred.
No, I think
Mr.
CD Deuce.
Plow. Who's Mr. Plow? Is that Mike Bell?
I think CD Deuce would be salty. That's who CD.
Yeah, I just saw it. I just realized that was the winner right there.
Yeah,
solid.
And actually, if we're gonna call anybody Mr. Plow, shouldn't it have been Jeremy Shockey?
No, I think Mr. Plow's got to be like a fullback, like Mike Carney or something.
You're thinking.
Oh, you know what? I like that one better.
You're thinking too on the field.
BFG,
Dave.
the big friendly
Kevin's is
critter.
broadening his horizons.
Sheldon Rankins.
I love the fact that Scotland takes the time to name every single snowplow in their country. That's a commitment that America doesn't have.
What is grit? So they use grit a lot as a pun. Is that like their word for snow, like in Scotland?
Must be.
So yeah, so we did that. But I like I like CD Deuce's salty. So now we got to get to the hotline. And like I said at the beginning of the show,
Here we go.
The hotline this week. The hotline this week really is a combination of therapy and sadness, and the unfiltered hotline, which you can get if you're a patron, was like 12 minutes long. I cut it down in half. It's only like 6 or 7. But you people were calling in like first quarter, and you were angry. It's time for this week's hottest takes from the Saints Happy Hour Hotline.
I just want to conduct a search party for Sean Payton's balls because his ambush and flea flicker and challenge flag reigning days are over, and he's now the guy who bent over for Goodell and doesn't trust his future Hall of Fame quarterback to get 8 yards with the game on the line.
As we've learned with anything in 2020, it's all just a bunch of horse shit. So fuck it. That's it. That's the voicemail. That's it. Play me on the show. Or don't play me on the show. I don't give a fuck.
The loss to the Eagles is on Sean Payton and his fucking arrogance. Okay? Taysom Hill, I've seen enough. All right? Let's go with Jameis against the Chiefs. Okay? Let's go with the quarterback that can run a fucking 2-minute drill and actually throw the ball downfield and make a read. And at the very least, see a wide open receiver like Michael Thomas. Give me Jameis or give me death. Otherwise, the Saints will finish 11-5 and lose early on in the playoffs. Good night.
Yes, hello. This is Olgren Simonov. I am, how you say, boss, employment agent for Tomas. I am calling to see how he is doing thus far. As you understand, he get college credit for every time he update website,
nice.
And number go up in Malta for podcast. We were told that you are paying him. Unacceptable. He does not need to be paid. We take care of him with shashlik and other thing too. Thomas is fine. Yes, that is very good. Here I will file paperwork down at Kremlin, and we will. Wait, did I say Kremlin?
Hey guys, Chase here from Tampa. Love the show. Been a long time listener. How was that not the most predictable Saints thing ever? big game coming up against the Chiefs. Everybody's starting to get healthy. Even offensive Taysom Hill starting to look good. We're starting to believe that hope is starting to rise up again, that, hey, maybe this is the squad that gets us past the heartbreak. This is the squad that gets us that one final push through the season before some random event happens that clips us from getting the one seed and home field advantage like it's happened the last 4 years. And then you just had that feeling that this was going to be the time they laid the egg. And, man, did they deliver. And then to give us hope in the end, is that just not the most Saints thing ever? And yet, despite all that, number 2 in the NFC, I'm looking ahead to the Chiefs, and I'm like, I'm still hopeful. Whether Drew Brees plays or not, this still can be the squad that gets it done. But, man, was that not the most Saints thing ever of the last Sean Payton era?
I don't put the blame fully on the defense on this one. I mean, they only allowed 23 points. 23. That is manageable by any means to any defenses. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Taysom Hill, he's not the answer. He's not the answer to the next quarterback. The fumbling, the turnovers. Any other player in the NFL, they did that twice a game. They'd be riding the bench. It's over with, man. I can't deal with that. I want to see what Winston looks like, but I don't want to see what he looks like against the Chiefs. It's ridiculous. Just ridiculous, man. Now I got to make a decision of go playing in traffic or beating my son in Madden to make myself feel better.
See, that's that shit I'm talking about. This is that shit I'm fucking talking about, bro. Every time you put your fucking faith into the Saints, every time these motherfuckers reach the goddamn top or they get close to the number 1 seed, they do some bullshit like this. How the fuck do you lose to a team who has 3 fucking starters, bro? Like, what the fuck am I watching? I already know what's gonna fucking happen. They do the same blueprint for the last, they've been doing this shit for the last 3 years. They get to the number 1 seed, they get bounced out the number 1 seed, they come in at second and third, they're gonna come in, they're gonna play the sorriest team, and get bounced out the fucking first round. I'm calling it now. Fucking bullshit.
At this fucking point, I just have one question. All of this concern about Jameis Winston and his throwing interceptions, how is it better if Taysom Hill literally fumbles the fucking ball every week at the worst possible time? There's no difference in that to me. And that's all I want to know.
The worst part of this fucking loss in this household is that whatever damn show my 3-year-old is into has an eagle involved with it. So now she's just running around the house going, Eagles, Eagles, Eagles. And now she has the most fucking punchable face rather than me.
What kid show has Eagles in it? I feel like I'm pretty hip.
Fumbled. Like this is just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Your mom. I still feel like that's. I don't know if that's necessary, but I don't know what the screening purpose is like. Anyways, what I really wanted to say was I'm surprised that you haven't figured out how to block callers on your hotline by now, because it's a lot of calls from just the same guy. Like, Dave was. You should. Honestly, here's the deal. You need to put Dave in charge of the hotline because he's pushing the hotline number. So Dave should be in charge of screening all the calls. Like, he could do it while he's in his t-shirt shop. But I would like to buy a shirt from Dave's t-shirt shop if I could. But I don't know where. I want to support. I'm not local. I'm in Houston. Oh shit. Yeah, Ralph. Yeah, with you. Anyways, but I would support Dave's business. I would buy a t-shirt from Dave's shop. Dave, you got online? Give your online link somehow.
SaintsHappyHourShop.com.
I'll buy a shirt from your shop.
Using the turning lane.
Unless it's like, I don't know, over $7, because then I could just get the Boost bundle. I don't know. That's a tough decision that I'll need to figure out. All right, I got a lot of thinking to do.
That last call, that was real. We didn't.
That's my guy.
we didn't edit that. That's not one of us doing a voice. That is 100% real. The scariest thing, Kevin, is I think he was driving while doing that and was clearly not sober.
Yeah. No, you could hear. I tell you, you could hear the turn signal on in the car.
Yeah, but then the audio got like instantly really like better quality, and I sounded like it was that 2 different calls?
No, that was one call.
I don't know.
Called
yeah,
like he called like 8 times.
He's my guy. He just he doesn't really have any plan when he calls. He just starts talking, and whatever comes to his mind, he just starts saying.
Freestyling.
Yeah. And by the way, yes, saintshappyhourshop.com. You can buy as many shirts as you want.
You know, if you want to support the business.
Yeah.
You take care of my guy, Dave.
Did I take care of your guy? Yeah, I ordered your shirt. Yeah, it'll probably go out. It'll go out probably Friday.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
So, sneak peek, Tom, our KGB Kremlin content producer, he's working on something for the hotline that is magical, just to let you know. So here we go.
Somebody make a gif of Juge doing that.
Where are you at, Tom? Where are you at, Tomas?
All right, so let's go with the questions. Has a team ever swept two division teams with 2 different quarterbacks? Drew swept Tampa and Taysom swept the Falcons. I don't know. Somebody Google that.
Hey, Ralph, it looks like YouTube is getting jammed up when you play other stuff. It happened during the calls, too, so I kill the song, maybe.
Oh, it makes me sad, no music. Dave, how many times will Peat fall down on Sunday?
By the way, I like
an over/under.
I like the shirt idea. I like the worry about your Peat shirt idea.
No, that was genius.
Yeah. We might have to make that happen. Over under. I don't know. You know what? Look, I'm power of positive thinking. Pete's gonna have a bounce back game. Great game. He's gonna have a great game. We're all gonna be. Oh my God! Thank God we paid him all that money. Good thing the Saints paid him all that money.
You don't sound convinced, Dave.
Just don't worry about it. All right, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine, right?
Should the Saints rest Drew one more week?
I think they're going to have to. I don't think he's ready. They said he was still suffering and having pain last week. So.
Oh my God, he's still having pain?
That's what I think. Sean Payton said that in an interview that last week he was still dealing with some stuff.
Kevin, would the Saints losing to the Eagles and then throttling the Chiefs be the Saintsiest shit ever?
Yeah, we discussed that at the in the post game. That's also on the Patreon. And I said the Saintsiest thing would be for them to beat the Chiefs and then proceed to lose, for them to beat the Chiefs, for the Packers to lose, and then for the Saints to lose every other single game for the rest of the season. Just, give us just enough and then rip it all away in spectacular fashion yet again.
Do you think I don't know. Does anybody else get the feeling like Drew's never going to come back and that Taysom Hill is the quarterback for the rest of the year?
God,
no chance.
Damn, Dave, you're bringing this show
I hate
down
to hear that. I hate to hear that.
I just I'm just getting that like intuition, I'm like the Long Island medium.
Oh no.
That is idiotic.
Yeah, it's terrible. And then,
Oh, don't make me beg now.
Drew, you got to get back. You got to get back, Drew. I'm just saying.
Don't make me beg now.
Don't make me beg now. So, speaking of that, the Saints are a 3.5-point underdog to the 11-1 or the 12-1 Chiefs. So I'll start with you, Kevin. Saints Chiefs. Hopefully, I'll be able to watch. What is it, Kevin? Tinga.
Tegna, not Jenga with a T. Tegna.
Who was the girl on Boy Meets World?
Topanga.
Whatever. Anyway, DirecTV.
Yeah.
I don't got CBS. I don't got it. I got to figure out a way to watch the game. I'm like you, Kevin. I got to figure shit out to watch the game Sunday.
Go get CBS All Access.
Can we just talk about Topanga for like 5 minutes?
We can.
Yeah, she was hot. Well, she still is hot. But yeah, she's hot.
Yeah.
Topanga was smoking hot. Teenage boys everywhere.
Yup.
In the 90s. When was Boy Meets? Was that 90s or early 2000s?
No. That was the 90s, man.
Yeah,
that was TGIF.
Oh, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, Full House.
Yeah, that was on TGIF.
Yeah, but that was like after like Full House and
Full House, Mr.
and Family Matters.
No, it was like Family Matters, Step by Step.
Yeah.
And that was like the original. Yeah, but that was like the original iteration of what Friday? What was it? Friday.
TGIF.
TGIF.
Yeah.
But the second iteration was Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
anyway.
Kevin.
Chiefs game.
Chiefs game. Saints 3.5-point underdog. Who you got?
Patrick Mahomes. Who you got?
I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Oh, boo.
And I hope I'm wrong. So I will say.
I hate to hear that. I hate to hear that.
I couldn't resist.
Yeah, sorry, Jim. Sorry. I'm going to say Chiefs. Chiefs 31. Saints 20.
Interesting. So
you know, Ralph, I've been listening to your show for a while, and I hear all those clips you play with my voice in them. And I'm here to tell you, I really don't like it. And don't you ever invite me on your show, because I will never come on your show. If he calls our hotline and leaves that message, I would pay him $2,500 to his charity of choice.
We're on our way to getting Sean Payton. He's already started climbing the podcast social ranks, and he'll get to us eventually. It's fine.
Is Jim Mora calling and ranting on our hotline the greatest thing that could ever happen to this podcast? I think it is.
I think it would be. I got to get that soundbite of him ranting against the Saints Broncos game. He called it like a joke or something. I got to get that and add it to the soundboard.
We need to do more cameos. I was listening to one on the Josh Innes podcast, and somebody got Little Richard to give like a Happy Hanukkah speech, but he didn't know Hanukkah, and he kept pronouncing it Chanukah. He was like, "I just want to wish you a happy Chanukah." I don't know what Chanukah is, but I want to wish you a happy Chanukah. No, it wasn't. No, it was Smokey Robinson. That's who it was. It was Little Rich. I think Little Richard's dead.
Happy. It's that time of year. Happy Chanukah.
We gotta get like past Saints players. We gotta write scripts that have like hard to pronounce words and see if we can make them stumble.
Rob Ryan is on.
What?
Ryan is on Cameo.
There we go, right there. Happy. He doesn't know how to say Hanukkah. He doesn't know how to pronounce Hanukkah.
Tyrese Stewart in the chat wants to know: is this a Taysom Hill hate page? Yeah, it's a Taysom Hill hate page until he throws his next touchdown or has the whole game without fumbling. Then I'm his biggest fan.
Oh well, that's never gonna happen.
I mean, so Dave, Saints Chiefs, who you got?
Saints Chiefs, who I got? I'm with Kevin. There's no way I'm picking the Saints to win this one. I'm using my head here. This is also a really big problem because I got a bye in the first round of my fantasy football playoffs, and now I'm in the second round. So I need to win to go to the championship, and of course Patrick Mahomes is my quarterback. So goddamn, this is oh man, this is difficult. But no, I don't think the Saints have a chance. The Kansas City Chiefs, they are. I got to be honest with you. They're the team that I wish the Saints could be. They are the team that plays consistently good football, that comes out. They don't play down to the level of their competition. The Saints still year 12, 13, 14, whatever, into Peyton's,
the Chiefs kind of
history here. And they still, we're still talking about these games, these quote unquote Saintsy games. That's we need to trademark that shit, Saintsy, patent that shit. But the Chiefs are not. I don't see that in them. They just seem to always come out and play well, and they're a very talented team. And I don't see the Saints. I'd be very surprised if this was a normal year and COVID wasn't around and we could pack the dome and maybe we could affect the game and be loud. That would be
another thing.
That would be a different game, and that would maybe change my opinion. But the Chiefs are going to come here and they're not going to have to deal with any of that shit. It's going to be very easy for them. So I'm going to say
fans at the game. Are they going to have any fans?
3,000. 3,000. They're going back to the first amount, which is just the plaza level, just the plaza level, no club, no
terrace.
The
tickets, Dave? Did you secure tickets?
I didn't. I'm not going to go out of my way to get tickets for the rest of the season, I don't think. So I'm gonna say Chiefs 27, Saints 14.
Ooh,
and yeah, I know. No, we're not gonna like it. It's not gonna be good. And I'm still, one of those 14 points is gonna be somebody returning a goddamn kick or a punt for a touchdown.
For Kansas City?
Yeah.
No, for the Saints.
Oh, gotcha.
So Andrew,
you're still going with that.
I'm
ride
or die.
So Andrew, who you got?
You guys are both wrong. The Saints are going to win this game because that would be the Saintsiest thing ever, to lose to the Eagles and then come back and beat the Chiefs. I still think the Saints are a really good team. I still think they're well coached. I still think top to bottom, there's nothing about the Chiefs other than maybe Patrick Mahomes, which I get is a big deal. He's the MVP and he's maybe the best quarterback in the league. But beyond that, I don't know that the Chiefs have a better roster than the Saints. They have scary playmakers, but I think the Saints can absolutely compete with them. And I think they're embarrassed, as they should be. And I think the Saints are going to come out focused. They're going to play well. And I think they're going to win this game. I think the Saints win this game 31-30. And Will Lutz is going to make all you doubters wrong with a 52-yarder at the gun to win.
They won't even bring him to camp. He looks like a star of the day for the Saints.
Y'all are all wrong. Saints 41, Chiefs 21. The Saints are going to play the best game they have played in 4 fucking years, and they are going to smoke the Chiefs.
Well, it's official. Ralph puked his brain out last night.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, clearly.
And I'm telling you, they're going to look fantastic and confuse the fucking world. They're going to be, how did you lose to the Eagles but look amazing against the Chiefs? Taysom is going to look so amazing that Loomis might sign him to a contract at midfield after the game. Because I trust that Steve Spagnuolo is a terrible defensive coach, and Sean Payton can outcoach him. And he's going to have a plan ready to roast the Chief. Patrick Mahomes is going to continue have another bad game. The Saints aren't really going to stop Kansas City as much as they're going to get 2 or 3 turnovers, and that's going to make the score wider than maybe the game actually was. But it's 41-21 Saints. Everybody's going to be feeling good except for the fact that we have to watch that goddamn game on Christmas against the Minnesota Vikings, which is an abomination. Dave, you were correct. It was an abomination when they announced it, and it's still an abomination.
I mean, At least we'll have something to do on Christmas Day.
I don't want football on Christmas. It's just like Thanksgiving.
The Pelicans are playing on Christmas Day too, I think.
Yeah, let the NBA have Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. This is great. Now I have many things where I can ignore my family. That's wonderful.
So you should be.
Joke's on y'all. I have no family with me.
I forgot.
Verbal meme. Guy tapping his temple. You can't miss. You can't miss out time on your family if you don't have a family.
So
God, I'm lonely.
I should have done a better job of promoting the Patreon before the end of the show, but I always do this. So you should become a patron, get the show every day. But thanks for hanging out with us a day late. We appreciate all you fans sticking with us. I had the death flu, but it's all right. So for Dave, for Andrew, for Kevin, until next week, the bar is closed.
No college credit for him. None for Tom.